Today we're diving into Witchfire, a single-player first-person RPG shooter set in a dark fantasy world. This game stands out with its mix of roguelite mechanics, extraction shooter elements, and that unforgiving Souls-like difficulty that we all love to hate. Witchfire was developed by the Astronauts, which is a small but mighty studio from Poland, and it launched in early access on the Epic Games Store back in September 2023. And they also have plans to release their early access game on Steam by the end of the year. The Astronauts were kind enough to invite me to the preview event for their latest update, which released today and includes a whole new map, new gear, and a new feature called Fallen Prayers. I'm also experiencing their previous update for the first time, which introduced starting classes and the Gnosis system, so there's a lot to see and do since the release. But first, let's break down the basics of Witchfire, and then I'm going to give you guys my opinion, the good and the bad. If you haven't tried Witchfire yet, let me give you an idea of the gameplay loop. You start by picking a class, much like in a Souls-like game, and this class sets your initial stats, weapons, and gear. So some of them have more health, some of them have more stamina, some of them have ranged weapons, close-up weapons, different spells. Although you can swap all of this out as you progress and obviously level up different stats based on what you want. Then after a quick tutorial, you're thrown into one of the game's distinct maps where your goal is to gather Witchfire, which is similar to Souls in other games, and bringing back Witchfire lets you level up, enhancing your character's stats like health, stamina, and spell recharge. The gold you earn from picking up collectibles on the map allows you to research new guns, spells, and artifacts. And although the expeditions are roguelite, where you will lose your Witchfire if you die, you do have an opportunity to go back into the map to get it out safely, and the progression that you make at the home base in the Hermitorium is permanent, and the newfound strength that you get from leveling up your stats and getting new weapons and such allows you to tackle tougher bosses and encounters. Another part to permanent progression, which I really like, is that as you play with your new items, your weapons, and your spells, you can also level them up to become even more powerful. So they gain extra stats and perks as you level them up. And I really like progression systems like this that reward you for playing with the items that you already like and help you tackle greater challenges. And trust me, there are definitely greater challenges in Witchfire. Now, Witchfire's previous update introduced a new mysterious system called Gnosis, and as you level up this system, you're going to start to reveal secret chests and areas in each of the maps. But it also increases the difficulty level of the maps, introducing new enemy types, traps, and calamities. So previously, when you leveled up your character, it would introduce new enemy types and things, but now it is this separate system. So if the game is too challenging for you, you can over-level it a bit without increasing the difficulty of the maps with the new traps and such. So it can make it a little bit easier, or you can rush leveling up your Gnosis to acquire more rewards and more Witchfire, and it adds new secrets on the maps. So there's kind of pros and cons to both. This keeps each expedition fresh, as you don't really know what to expect on each map as you level up the first time, but the map layout is always going to be static, so the actual areas will always be static for you to plan out your route. The chests and stuff are randomized, but I'm torn whether I like this or not, because the game is in early access, so there are only 3 maps right now, with the third one launching today. So the gameplay can feel really repetitive because the maps are so static in their layout. Yes, you're getting new enemy types and traps and calamities, so the experience is a little bit different each time. But unless you're blazing through those Gnosis levels, you're not going to see that change for a while. At least for me, it took me quite a few runs before I was able to go through those levels. However, it is nice to get a familiar route down, and it can help you get in and get out with Witchfire to level up if you're having trouble getting through a certain map, or if you want to finish researching a few new items to try them out. So as I mentioned in today's update, Witchfire adds the Wailing Tower map, which is a small island with ruins of a giant tower. It took me a few runs to figure out the secret to unlocking the tower and exploring the depths, so I like that they added kind of a little puzzle to it, and I think this is the perfect starting map due to its size and the challenge, and it was really fun to figure out. The other 2 maps available in early access are the Scarlet Coast and the Iron Gate Castle. These are bigger, more challenging maps with their own secrets and traps, and these maps are going to take me quite a few runs to really lock down and figure out how to get in and defeat the boss. The other addition to today's update is the Fallen Prayers system. I didn't get a chance to check this one out in depth, but it adds additional quests, which I did complete in order to awaken companions from the map menu. Each of these Fallen Prayers is going to have a unique set of passive and active skills. The example one that they give in their post is the Goliath, who increases the damage of your uncharged melee attacks, and his spectral form attracts all enemies in the area, and they say literally all the enemies in the area. So this definitely sounds like an awesome addition to a player's build, and it can help you get through some tougher challenges if you're able to summon these companions, and they can take some of the aggro and help you by increasing the damage of your skills and maybe your weapons and stuff. Witchfire has been a fun game to play and check on their progress throughout this last year of early access. Personally though, I really wish it was a co-op game. I usually prefer those over single player games, and if you follow my channel, you will definitely know that. However, I know a lot of people really love single player games and they like that difficult challenge going through as a solo player. I also know many of you guys that watch my videos are always looking for new, fresh first-person shooters, and if you enjoy single-player RPGs with a roguelite element, I think Witchfire is definitely one you should add to your list. Keep an eye on it as they make updates here in early access and add more content, and I'll keep you guys updated.